Getting set up. Hope everybody's been enjoying their Sunday. It's been absolutely gorgeous weather here in Oklahoma. Just took the doggies for a walk. And another 18 seconds. We're rolling along. So this is going to be live about... Let's just turn Tammy's off here. This is going to be everything that you could think of to ask us questions about. So there's no... last time we had a set structure for it. It was all about pregnancy. This time it's going to be anything. Your stud fees. This is from eFizzle. eFizzle asked, are your stud fees American money? Yes, because we live in Oklahoma. So our studs are in Oklahoma. Can you ship to Halifax? Yeah, we can ship all over the world. So if you doesn't matter where you are, you know, if you're inside the continental US, it's easy because it's overnight shipping by FedEx. The days we can't ship, well, now if you're asking about studs, the days that we can't ship are Saturdays and Sundays, but we can get it to you Tuesday through Saturday. We can get samples to you, no problem at all. If you are overseas, it takes a couple of days to get there, so we need to kind of get the logistics right to get your timing right. And with our shipmate canister, we can get semen to you a few days before you need it. You can put it in the fridge and keep it going for a few days, actually up to 10 days. That's not optimal, but it's still usable after 10 days, certainly after 5. Okay, so here comes Tammy. Here you go, Tammy.
Let me grab mine.
All right. All right, good. And I've got to see what we've got going on here. Okay. Bones VR says, love you, James. Love you too, Bones VR. eFizzle says, where they're interested in stud feed. Look, what I recommend is give us a holler tomorrow or even late after this live. You can call me 580-799-2873. We can answer all your questions. And that's in Canada, no problem, yes. And going to text Cody, that's a good way to do it too. Absolutely, that's the way I've texted you before. Okay, good, well great, good. Okay, here you go, Tammy, here's your little microphone.
Yeah.
It's not got a little fluffy thing on it, but that's the end that wants to be facing you.
This right here?
Let me do it for you. Tammy is technically challenged sometimes. We'll just put it right over here.
I can't help it.
Okay, there we go. That ought to work.
Why do I need to have it? You take care of it for me.
All right. So let's see, what was that question there? Do you know, Paul Phillips, excuse me, do you know of any chain laboratories that offer progesterone testing if you bring them a blood sample? So you've got to have to find out what's available in your area. For instance, if you're in Oklahoma, we do it. You can go to Cody, you've got to give him a call ahead of time, but Cody can run a progesterone sample for you right there and then and get you answers within about 20 minutes of you showing up. So he does charge for that. If you bring a dog to us for stud service, that is part of the process. That's paid for and part of the process. Other parts of the country, I mean, you know, you just got to call some vets up. I would think that probably a third of vets have progesterone machines, approximately. Sammy Levy says, hello from Massachusetts. Hi, Sam. Linda says, she's a rare diamond. Hi, Linda. Linda asks, where do you get your medications? So that's a good one. So the problem you've got here is it was much easier to get medications a decade ago than it is now. To get antibiotics today, you've got to go to your vet to get a script. You actually can still get antibiotics that are for fish, and there's exactly the same product. So I get Fish Pen, which is penicillin, Fish Mox, which is amoxicillin, Fish Zol, which is metronidazole, Fish Flex, which is aflatoxin. You can buy all of those on places like Chewy. Without a prescription.
Used to, you could buy them at the PetSmart and Walmart.
Walmart, right? You can't do it anymore.
Now.
It's getting harder and harder. I would recommend to you, if you're going to do, I mean, these things have got a shelf life of 5 years or something. I'd stock up. It's not expensive. I mean, like a bottle of 100, 250 milligram amoxicillin or Fish Mox might run you $20. It might be less than that. So I would say stock up. Now, if you're going to do this, go look at my video about how to divvy up a tablet or a pill, how to break it open, how to divvy it up. so that you can get the right amount, because you know you're not going to give a little puppy a 500 milligram amoxicillin tablet. It's going to be, you know, a lot less than that, maybe a tenth of that. And exactly what that dosage is, you're going to have to Google it. I typically don't want to give out dosages because remember, Tammy, are you a vet?
No.
And I?
James is not a vet.
I'm not a vet either. So any information you get here, you know, this is the liability part of this.
Well,
this is the small print. Anything you get from us, remember, we're not vets.
Nope.
And it's subject, and you can get information from anybody, including vets, is bogus. Always, always have your bullshit meter going. So if we say something that you think is rubbish, Google it, get a second opinion. It's always a good idea.
We can't give out doses. You look that up you Google it, you weigh your dog and Google
Yes.
how much in doses you
E.
give your
Fizzle
dog.
says, are your prices the same around May or June? Yes, they're not going to change that I know of. Now, Cody's the one who controls
Is that for
this.
the breeding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so Cody's the one who controls this. But I mean, we have discussions about this all the time. He did drop the prices dramatically in January. And remember, any...
How do you know that's not for breeding or puppies?
For the
Is that what
previous
that
one,
means?
'cause the
Oh,
previous
okay.
one
Oh,
got them.
okay. Okay.
So E. Fizzle asked about that. So, but the answer is Cody has dropped prices in half, and you get half-price breedings to any female for the life of that female that you produce from a breeding you get with one of his dogs.
When
one
you
of our
buy
dogs.
one of our puppies, and we've got puppies for sale, little females and males.
E. Fizzle, another one. Is it hard to get registered breeding papers if a breeder rips you off? Yes, it is.
Very hard.
Yes.
You have to have both AKC, the parent and the mother and the dad.
Have to have
Sire and dame.
and then everybody's got to sign off. So if you breed to an AKC stud and the AKC person won't sign off, you've got a problem. Now, so what I recommend is this, that you ask questions beforehand, that you go with a reputable breeder who's done this before, and that you look at their contract to make sure that you can live with what the terms and conditions are. If you don't do that, there's all kinds of pitfalls. I don't want to go into any great detail here, but I've got videos on this. All right. What infections or sickness could affect a full-grown dog? That's Levi Monte asked that. Well, all kinds of stuff, just like you and me. I mean, you know, dogs can get cancer. Dogs can get flu. Dogs can get distemper.
Dogs can get brucellosis.
Dogs can get brucellosis. They can get parvo.
Whooping cough.
They can get vaginitis. They can get pyrometria.
It's not whooping cough. What is it?
Kennel cough.
Kennel cough.
So look, if you've got a
It's like
dog,
a whooping cough.
if you've got a dog that's got a temperature above 102, don't muck around. Go to the vet. Get them to run some blood tests, whatever. Find out what's going on. Don't. You know, if you've got a dog that's obviously in trouble, then I recommend that you go to the vet if you don't know what to do, because you
Take
don't.
a stool sample with you if you can grab it.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Put it in a baggie. The freshest stool sample you can get.
Joseph Gray says, I have a male Frenchie. He is 8 going on 9 months and has no signs of testicles. Is it too late for him? Yeah, that's a tough one right there. So generally, you want to see both testicles descended by 6 months. What you can do is you can start working with him and massaging that general area and see if you can get the testes to pop out. And if you can, do that on a daily basis. What's going on here is there's the inguinal ring, which is an opening between the stomach cavity and the leg, and through that goes the femoral artery. And also through that drops the testes. The testes are up in the stomach cavity, and they have to drop down through that into the scrotal sac. That should have happened by 6 months. And if it hasn't, you're probably in trouble. And they need to have both testes dropped. Because if you retain a testes, that testes will be non-functional. The dog won't be very good for semen collection, and it can develop into cancer. So the recommended treatment for a dog without descended testes at 6 months is to get that dog spayed. Bad news for you. Sorry about that. But I believe that's the right answer. Do you sell females around 4 to 5K? Tammy's up on that one. This is E-Fizzle.
There are some. You just need to call and ask. My phone number is 580-799-1910. That's why I tell everybody to call me, because between my son, my granddaughter, Chanel, and me, we've got puppies. Give us a call.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back and add on to that, but somebody asked here, I see where they did it, they said it has the Frenchie market tank. That was Hammering Raider Hank. Has a French Bulldog market been saturated? So the answer to that is yes.
Anytime you heard that they were #1, you know, at the AKC, they rated them as #1 in the world, then
Well,
you know that they're pretty saturated.
And also we had COVID. We had an incredible market for people who had dogs to sell. That market is now lots of people have got them, so we've got a lot of supply and not as much demand. Back to what Tammy was saying about prices. So what goes on with us is, when do we have dogs in that 4 to 5K range? And the answer is, sometimes we breed some dogs that are more standard colors, lower prices, and sometimes one's in a situation, I'm sure you've all been through this, where you've got dogs that are 14, 15 weeks old, and you've got, typically it's the males. The females of ours tend to sell very quickly because they come with a half price future breeding, but the males don't.
And you got large number of litters.
Yeah, you've got 10 puppies in a litter, you've got half of them males, and it's slow on those males, then it's time to drop prices. So that's something that you should be thinking about, by the way, if you're selling dogs. People say to me, what do I do if I've got puppies that are now, 5 months old? And what I say is, get a good recipe to start. No, I won't say that.
James, don't say that, please. But anyway, you can get them as pets.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so the answer is we do have dogs at that price, and lots of people have got dogs at those prices. So we've been doing well, considering what the market is, and it's for a number of reasons. We've got really nice dogs with great structure. We are very helpful to people.
Well,
we don't just sell somebody a dog.
we've
We
been
sell
in
them.
it for 22 years, raising Frenchies alone, so our bloodline's great. We know the background history of
Everything
the
about them.
males, the studs and the mamas, and so then we know what the babies are. So it's generations of litters that not litters, but of their parents' heritage, what their pedigree is, that brings it on to why we get a higher price for ours.
And Tammy's very good at marketing. I mean, this is all about marketing too. Good quality pictures, FaceTime, being very responsive to people. And then we don't just sell somebody a puppy, we sell them a whole lifestyle that goes with it.
Anytime you buy a puppy from us, we don't just take your money and say, go away, leave us alone. We're there for the long haul. We help you through this, especially if you're got a female and you're wanting to get her bred for being pregnant.
Absolutely.
We're there for every step of the way of when to get her pregnant,
Yes.
what to expect, get her bred, and then during, her pregnancy, if you've got questions, we're there. And then when she's having her babies and after she's had her babies, we want you
and
to
marketing
be
and
very,
pictures and the whole thing. So
we want you to be very successful
Exactly.
with your litter.
we've been very successful. We want to turn you into the same success that we've had. And I mean,
And
people
then if you have males, get a male from us. There's James.
make a
He's
stud
going to
dog.
help you
Yeah.
with that too.
Yes, right. So I get a lot of people who say, James, why and Tammy, why are you giving us all this information out? You're giving, you're making them your competitors. We want to make you our competitor. There's a big market
Well, we
out
don't
there.
want you to make the same mistakes that we made.
Well, that's right too.
and
Yes,
it's
that's right,
all
right.
a learning deal.
So Linda says, how do you tell if you've got Bordetella? Well, coughing dogs is one thing. I don't know if there's a test for that. I don't know. I mean, what you should be doing is if you've got a number of dogs around, or if they're going to dog parks, or they're going exposed to other dogs, I'd get a Bordetella shot for sure, gets a vaccine for it. If they've got Bordetella, I think at that point it's too late. Excuse me, I got the hiccup. It's too late. So I think that you've got to treat beforehand. St. Bernard puppies, we need a small box to hide our specimens because people come undone when they see the things in our refrigerator. Okay, well,
What?
okay. I'm not sure exactly what we mean there. Mini Labradoodle says, my dame is only day 10 with a progesterone of 0.7 on Thursday, day 6. She won't stop flagging and wants to stand for our stand now. We PG test her again tomorrow. Is it okay to let them tie now? Vet said to try. Well, look, if you had a 0.7 on day 6, and that was 4 days ago, then the next day, day 6. Day 7, I'd expect it to be a 2, day 8, a 3, day 9, a 4, day 10, ovulation, which is where you are now, a 5, and then breed 2 days later. So I expect her to be bred around day 13, something like that.
Is that the Labrador one?
Yes.
Yeah. We used to raise labs for
Labradoodle.
8 years.
Yep.
Oh, that's a Labradoodle?
Yep.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, same difference. They're both big dogs. And we did Labradors for 8 years
So
before
what
we started French Bulldogs. And when we always did day 9,
But day 10, day 10, 12,
11,
14, yeah, something like that.
I mean, day 12 and day 15. And that was before the progesterone testing.
Right.
And we would hit it every time.
But I'd say this to you, since you don't know where the numbers are right now, if her blood color has gone completely clear, I would breed her now. What is there to lose? The answer is...
she's inviting the male too. She's
Yes.
not fighting him off.
If
So I think she's ready.
If she will let the dog get on her back as opposed to just being flirtatious, that's a very good sign in the right place. And that she's got blood color that's almost completely gone vanilla or very, very light pink. I'd breed that dog. And what have you got to lose? And the answer is, the thing you have to lose is if you keep on using the dog too many times, you dilute his semen count. But if you haven't used him yet, I would go ahead and breed. I think you're early, but I'd go ahead and breed. Polly Johnson says, get a good recipe for what? You're not getting me into this one because Tammy's going to smack me upside of the head if I say anything about recipes for not the same.
Yep.
Is it e-fizzle again? Is it safe buying an older female that's 3 years old? It's KC registered. What is KC? She has on breeders. Well, I don't know if you're talking about the Canadian Kennel Club, which is fine because you can get that as AKC.
Or CKC.
If it's CKC, no, I wouldn't do it because if you can't get that dog AKC, then it does matter. Do we fly puppies to Canada? We haven't, but we could. And
We've got a nanny that will do it.
It's a bit expensive, but we can. It's not like we can't do it.
Got two nannies that will do it.
There is a way to get this done that's very easy, by the way, and that is to drive across the border, pick the puppy up, and then go across that way. It's probably an easy way of doing it, but it's not like it can't be done.
I've got a nanny that has done that before. Fly to a certain area, and the people drive across and pick up the puppy. Also.
The Family French vlog says, so we've got a suggested C-section date of 3/18. I was wondering, how does that date sound to you? Did 3 AIs, the last one was the 24th. Well, I mean, I think it's all about what the numbers were. So the 24th would be the back end of this whole thing. And it just depends what the numbers were when you're breeding. So if you go look at my video that is, what vets don't know will make you lose puppies. If you put the word lose in, I've got a whole 20-minute dissertation about all the things that you should be doing to get this right. And here's the deal. There are lots of people who make mistakes on this, and the consequences are disastrous. So you take puppies early, it's a bad day. You start losing puppies and have a big fight in your hands.
This is Frenchies or any kind of bulldog.
Yeah, anything that you C-section. If you C-section, yes. So then he says a bit more. The Family Frenchie vlog says, I did a vaginal cytology on 1819. She was ready both days. I'm not a big, huge fan of vaginal cytology. We used to do it because that's all we had. But I tell you, I have a very hard time, and I've looked at hundreds of these, maybe a lot more than that, to tell exactly what's going on with vaginal cytology. So the PG numbers and how the dog's behaving, for me, are much, much more reliable. Mini Labrador says, thank you so much. We have learned much from you and we love your channel. Well, good deal. Well, we appreciate that. Okay, how many people we got here? Yeah, we've got 50 people up there. That's good. All right. So, Tammy, why don't you just talk a little bit about vaccinations? Because somebody's asking about that. When do you vaccinate?
On puppies?
Yep.
At 6, 9, and 12, and 15. And 15 is when they're able to go ahead and get their rabies vaccination. We do all our shots at home because the place that people take their sick dogs to is to the vet. So keeping your babies at home as long as possible to keep them from going into the vet's office until they're fixing to go home to their new home. That's when you go get a vet check done. And by then, they've had their 2 sets of shots, the 6 and the 9. So that's when we give the vaccinations.
Right. And it's important that you get the timing right, so that you don't want to lose it.
Well,
You've got to get the right spacing.
You don't want to do them 2 weeks apart. You want to do them 3 weeks apart. 4 weeks is okay, but 3 weeks is preferable.
If you get it wrong, then the vaccinations aren't effective.
Right.
That's the problem.
If you do it too early, every 2 weeks, it's too early. It's not going to work. You wasted your money, your time, and
you don't have good coverage. And the reason this is
puppy.
the previous coverage has to have wore off a little bit. before the next one will take. And if you've let it go too long, then your puppies are susceptible to catching something like parvo. So you've got to get it right. If you don't know what to do, then we've got videos on this. Go to your vet as well. And where do you buy where are you buying vaccinations from these days?
Well, you sometimes order them, or I just pick them up from my vet and pick up the needles, tell them that you need the needles.
Keep them cold. If you're going to pick them up from the vet, or if you're going to
don't let
buy
them sit in your
online,
car without having ice pack on them.
Hey, Tony Hill says hi. Hi, Tony. Tony's got one of our doggies.
Yeah.
Hi, Tony. Somebody's asking here about splayed feet. Let me see if I can find that. So, Tammy, you can answer this one. But somebody's got a dog with splayed feet. 3-month-old puppy develops splayed paws, and later on, how can you correct the paws, splayed feet?
I don't think you can correct it.
What causes it?
Usually being on pins.
Yeah, why
not being able to be out to go play outside.
Why floor? Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It makes, so rather than having, so our dog's got nice little cat paws.
If they've got some heavy weight to them and they're on those pins, they definitely
their feet
splay
go
out.
through, they go through the grid, and it splays their paws out and they stay played out. I mean, what can you do about this? Get them on a solid floor, and hopefully that'll fix it. And it may take some time. I mean, I don't know whether you can wrap them up, that make any difference, but I suspect not. But I think that you've got to, it's one of those things that's got to be corrected early, or not start from the first place. So Family Fox says, thanks for the feedback. You're welcome. Polly Johnson says, what do you give at 6 weeks?
The puppies.
Yes.
They're 6-week shot.
And?
But, well, you do your worming.
Yes, with what?
With Nemax 2 at 2 and 4 weeks.
Yep.
And then when they turn 6 weeks, you can give them Safeguard, and that's every 2 weeks apart, 6, 8, and 10. You give Safeguard 3 days in a row.
Right.
So don't forget that.
Right.
But you can do 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Keep on going. As long as you got them, keep on worming those babies.
And worm mum with that as well.
Yeah.
10 days before and 7 days after whelp for 3 days in a row. And it's goat wormer. It's called a Safeguard fender benders. It's a goat wormer. It's kind of a milk liquid looking thing, and it's not very expensive. Well, it might be $100 for a quart of it. You can buy it on Amazon. You don't have to go to your vet.
But when they're 6 weeks, at 6 weeks, you start in on the wormer at 2 weeks old. 2, 4, and 6 or 2 and 4 weeks is with the Nemax 2. It's a real safe puppy wormer. And then the Safeguard's a little bit stronger, so that's why you wait till they're 6 weeks old to start giving it every 2 weeks.
You know your stuff, don't you?
No, I've just been doing it for
Doing it for a long time.
Well, with labs too, so.
Something else that's going to
30-something years.
that we'd be giving our dogs at 6 weeks,
old.
and that is we'd have them weaned by then, or at least have them in the process of being weaned.
Yeah.
So that's not quite what you asked, I think, but at that point, typically, 5 weeks you start to wean? Is that about right?
Yeah,
Depends, doesn't it?
real runny, mushy, gravy type food. Yeah.
You can get raw canine puppy mousse in cans. That's good.
Get your goat's milk, warm it up a little bit, mix it up with that until it's a real loose gravy, runny gravy, and they're going to lap it up. They may kind of back off away from it, but they hear the other puppies lapping it up. They're going to go find out what they're lapping up, and they'll go right
I'm
back
changing
to
positions with you, because it looks like I've got a big head and you've got a small head.
Okay.
Scoot over a notch and put Tammy in the driver's seat. There we go.
I'm always in the driver's seat.
There we go. That's good.
Yeah.
So when would you wean earlier than that? Because your mum's milk's not very good. Because
Or if she's not being very nice to
she's not being nice.
babies,
Oh, she's got a crap litter of puppies. You have a litter of 10 puppies on a Frenchie. That will make a Frenchie look pretty rough. And the sooner you can get them weaned to take some of the load off mum, the better it is for mum and the better it is for the puppies. Because you don't want skinny, frail puppies. And some of this,
the other thing too is when your mama dog, as soon as she gets pregnant, the day you AR, start giving her puppy food, something higher in calories for mama dog, and let her be eating that all along until after she's had her babies. And then if you're able to get Bill Jack, depends on where you live, you buy it in the freezer section at your grocery store or Walmart, and start feeding them that. They need lots of calories.
Yes.
Because they're feeding bukus of babies.
Yes.
And even if they're not feeding bukus, you still give it to her so she can be nice and fat. and you let her eat as much as she wants. It doesn't matter. When she's had those babies, you let her eat as much as she wants.
There's all Tammy and all the beauty right there. Right. So Linda asks, what do you give for tapeworm? We haven't had tapeworm in a long time, but I think Droncit is typically the product that you use for tapeworm as a pill.
And usually that's from fleas.
That's from
too.
fleas, yeah. So that's another thing, is you've got this, take a look and see what's going on. If you've got fleas, then you don't want to give medications like Bravecto and flea medications to pregnant dogs. But you can use Adam's flea spray. What the life cycle is the flea is swallowed, it produces larvae that then produce a tapeworm that they poop out. And so tapeworms can be, they're fairly easy to fix, but you definitely, if you see segments in the poop, you see fleas running around on the dog, especially armpits, paws, crevices. Yep. You see little dots on the little black dots on the dead beddings of poop.
Eggs.
Yep. You want to get on top of this. And by the way, they'll infest you too. So
yeah. They'll be in your house.
Yep. So
Not good.
Your German Shepherd's got tapeworms. Yeah, well, I mean, I'd go to the vet and get Droncit probably, unless it's a pregnant dog, and then I think that you need to go discuss this with your vet, and certainly go look and see if you can see fleas and take care of that. E. Fizzle says, my female micro height, short I guess you mean, 25 pounds, her second heat being about 16 months, doing an AI with a 30-pound stud, Merle. She's a blue brindle.
Is it a French Bulldog?
I think so.
Boy, that's big. The male's 30 pounds?
Yeah, a bit bigger than we like, but I mean, he doesn't say what it is, but I wouldn't call that a micro, so, but again, it's...
No.
It's all... But that wasn't really... But the question was, is it 30-pound stud Merle? She's a blue brindle. Will I get Merles? Is she safe to have pups? Yes, she's safe to have pups. If she's a healthy, happy dog, she's safe to have pups. Not a problem there. What will you get? If you breed to a Merle, you expect half the litter to be Merle. If one of the dogs has a copy of brindle, you expect half the dogs to be brindle. So what would I expect you to get? I'd expect you to get fawns, brindles, Merles, and brindle Merles. And 25% of each. That's what I'd expect you to get. Now, there may be other colours present there that'll affect this as well, but generally that's what I expect you to get. Well, Tony Hill says, highly recommend these guys. Stud process is second to none, and puppies are top quality. We love our Mando babies. Well, thank you, Tony. We think you've got beautiful babies too. We've seen them, yes.
Yeah, Mando does pretty babies. Real pretty. In fact, that's what I've got on the ground, and Cody's got on the ground, Mando babies.
Mama Bear Chihuahua says, will you be doing your Q&A videos anymore? I miss them. Maybe. We did some of the car the other day, but they weren't really Q&As, were they? So what I've been doing these days is I answer all the questions that people put on YouTube, and I try to answer every single one of them.
This is Q&As.
And this is a Q&A here. So the answer is this format's a little easier.
We're just not in the car.
Right. Wicked Good Bulldog says, we can't feed our mamas all they want after whelp when nursing. We have a greedy breed. They eat too much and they bring on mastitis. Yes, okay. So what we're talking about here, I think, is you've got the problem that every single breeder is faced with is mastitis. You've either got too much milk production, which is what he's talking about, or that person's talking about. You have too much milk production, and the boobs are getting engorged. They're not getting drained properly, especially the top ones. They get lumpy and hard and can get infected, and you can get in real trouble over this. You can even lose a dog over this.
Your female will run a little fever with it.
So if that happens,
hot.
Antibiotics and then a warm compress and start to try to drain them by hand and put
Warm
puppies
wash
on.
rag.
Yes. So that brings up an interesting thing, which is to do with diet. And the answer to this one is, if you've got a small litter and you've got lots of milk, you could probably back off on the diet a little bit. So, the amount of food that you give a dog is based on how fat she is. We had a conversation the other day, Tammy and I, about this. The question is, how much food should you give a pregnant mama? And what's your answer?
Well, when she's pregnant, I'd give her probably a half cup more than what she eats morning and night. Half a cup more than what she's normally used to.
Well, but what about if she's got 3 puppies versus 10 puppies? Then what are you going to do?
Nothing any different.
Well, I've got a different answer than you.
Okay. Wait, are you saying while she's pregnant or when she has puppies on the ground?
No, when she's nursing puppies.
Oh, if she's nursing puppies,
Yeah.
you let mama dog eat as much as she wants.
Unless.
You leave the food inside the cage or the bedding area where mama is and let her eat. And that's just within the few days after she's had babies, she'll get over there and eat. Sometimes you have mamas that won't want to get up and leave her babies to eat. So sometimes you have to hand feed her because you want her fed because she's got to have her
Calories.
fat intake to feed those babies.
Protein intake.
Yeah,
She's got to have protein intake to make babies because she's got to make milk to make babies. And
then when they get bigger and those puppies are getting into her bowl, you want to really watch that. Make sure she's not growling at them. But let her eat as much as she wants because it doesn't matter then because she's needing that.
Yes, but back to what Wicked Good Bulldogs was talking about. I think that the secret is, in any situation, is you don't want a skinny dog. And typically what happens is their appetite sucks 4 or 5 days before whelp, and it's not very good directly after whelp until the milk starts kicking in and the puppies are really pulling them down. But you don't want a skinny dog. If the dog is skinny, pile of food on. You can't feed too much food. If your dog is big and fat, it's got lots of milk and it's not getting drained, then I would back off on the calories. So I would, you can't read anything on a bag that says how much to give. And I've seen things that say give 25% more food than you normally give for every puppy they've got. I don't think that's a good answer. I think the right answer is monitor how the puppies are doing, how the milk production is, and how mama's doing. And don't get a skinny dog with lousy milk. If that's the situation, she needs more protein.
Oh yeah, cottage cheese is great to give her when she first gets home.
Yep.
Do that for about 4 or 5 days. And then slack off of it because those puppies will have some not very nice poop.
Oh, here we go. So it's a micro bully. That's what's going on.
I was going to say, is that a French bulldog? Okay,
yes.
That makes sense.
Yes, so that makes sense, right?
Yeah, because you're in the right range on.
Listen, B. Kennel says, I have a cream girl I just sent for DNA and I want to use a stud from you guys. Great. Which one would you recommend? So if you're talking about studs, if you're talking about who to send it off to, animal genetics. And the reason for that is they're fast and reliable. So we've used animal genetics almost exclusively now for the last over a decade.
And we do it when they're like 4 days old, 4 or 5 days old, depending on the puppies. If everybody's doing great, we'll do it.
Well, she's got an older dog that she's going to breed. So if you don't have the DNA, get it done. So you can send off you can order it online. You can order a free swab sample. It'll come in the mail to you. You do have to pay for the test ahead of time. You swab the dog, put it back in the mail, and then once they get it, about 4 or 5 days later, you'll get the results.
But they're all the time running discounts too, so always check that.
Yes.
It's kind of like us. We're running special prices on our studs.
And if they're running a discount, you can order stuff and just have it sitting there and not use it. So that's what we do. I've got 10 tests right now that I saved 25% on them that are not going to be used until I've got this next litter, which we don't even know when that's going to be because we don't have anybody who's coming to eat. But I've got them there and saved 25%, right? Okay, somebody says, yes, spot on. It's all about watching the dog in front of you. We're talking about how much to feed, and they agree. Good. There's no such thing, it's an extraordinary, beautiful Joe says, no such thing as a micro Frenchie, teacup Frenchie. It's just a small Frenchie. I agree 100%. We don't call ours micros, right? They're just small Frenchies. And so to us, a small Frenchie is a Frenchie when it's fully grown that's something sub 20 pounds or 20. I mean, 22 pounds is fairly small.
Yeah, they've got those micro Frenchies. I think they're like.
But we don't like that, Wood. I mean, so you can get Frenchies that are 12 pounds. Should you be breeding a 10-pound Frenchie? I don't know about that. I mean,
you got a male that's within that size.
Yeah,
you're doing C-sections, but be careful.
Yeah, right. Yes. Okay, Brifford Great Dane says, well, first thing I must say to you is you need to have a saddle for that dog. Those dogs get huge. We'll be traveling a long way to a stud for natural breeding. Recommendation on introducing to the stud, and how many ties do you recommend? That's a good question. So,
that stud's going to be happy to see her, no matter what.
So here's the things. When somebody comes to us for a breeding, we don't do live breedings, we do AIs, but people come to us for this. We don't let the dogs get in contact with each other because of things like brucellosis. So you definitely, if you're going to get your two dogs together, I would want to make sure the stud dogs had a brucellosis test. And I would want, and as a stud owner, I want to make sure your dog doesn't have brucellosis. And that's a simple blood test that takes 5 minutes. We do sell those on My Breeder Supply. They're about $12 a piece. I highly recommend anybody who's introducing any dogs, and that means a breeding is the same thing as bringing a dog in to keep. You know, any contact is a potential for things to go wrong. And so one of the things is brucellosis, and it's really a bad situation. You won't know you've got it, and it can wipe your whole kennel out.
It's a sexual transmitted disease,
Yes.
but not only just through sex, just
Yes.
saliva exchange,
Yes.
licking around on the female, drinking out of the same water bowl. You got to be careful.
So
Think of the what ifs.
but the question here is, how many times would you recommend? At least 2, and get the numbers right. If you've got a progesterone machine, somebody get the numbers right, 2 is plenty. If you don't have a progesterone machine, then it might be 3, but it's not more than that. And you know, behavior of the dog. I've got videos on this and how to time things off behavior.
Are they going to let them tie, or are they going to do an AI?
They're doing a natural breeding, so they're going to let them tie.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, that's not the way that we'd do it. What we'd do is we'd collect from the male, and we'd have a teaser dog, which is one of our dogs that we know doesn't have brucellosis, and the dog you bring to us would have been brucellosis test anyway. And then we'd do a AI, and we'd do progesterone tests, and we'd do at least two AIs. And it's the same thing as do it naturally, but it's just, so somebody else asked a question here, which I'm going to bring this up now.
I'd rather be safe than sorry. I really would. 'Cause
Do you reckon, Jesse James says, do you recommend natural breedings? I've heard some can't. So,
yeah, some can't. The only way we would do natural breeding, we don't, but if we did, we'd use our own stud, our own female.
yeah, we've done this where it's happened.
Because we know what we do with our studs, and they are brucellosis checked, they are tested. Yeah, I used to tell, James used to get so mad at me a long time ago because I'd say, think of the what if.
No, you're right.
You know,
you're
and
right.
now,
But I was
we
laughing because
do.
I remember you were on vacation, your dad called you, and he said, the dogs are tied up. I've got a water hose, I'm going to spray them down. And it's like, no, let them get on with it. The dog that's there, the stud dog that's with them is the right dog anyway, just let them breathe.
That was a long time ago.
But typically French Bulldogs have a hard time getting it done. And what you find happens is the poor old male is all excited. He's trying and trying and trying. He's just exhausted. And very likely he ends up dumping his load on the ground. And that is absolutely what you don't want.
That's your valuable stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And
on
then the
the
next time
ground.
you want to use him, his count's gone down because
Yeah.
he did that twice in a row.
Yeah.
So, you know, if the dogs can't get it up, we used to do this with Labs. I've done it with
and if
German
they're
Shepherds.
outside, French Bulldogs, and it's hot outside,
They get exhausted.
well, they'll get overheated.
Oh, they can die.
Can die from that,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Is there such a
don't
thing as an extreme pied merle where the merle doesn't show? Yes, there is. So that's an interesting question. And,
that's a double cream pied.
well, not necessarily. It
And
could
it doesn't
be.
show.
Well, here's the deal.
That's
let's,
what it
let's
said.
talk about let's just talk about extreme pied for a moment. An extreme pied.
But
is
how are you to know it's extreme pied if it's double
well,
cream?
well, here you go. So this is so I've just been thinking about that answer to that question while you were talking, and so here's what can happen. Here's what can happen. A pied dog has a base color of white. That white will not show merle. If you've got the extreme pied, it's almost exclusively white, and consequently, it could be a merle and it wouldn't show. You could have a cream pied that was totally cream, and it could be a merle and it wouldn't show. So the answer is you could have an extreme pied merle that wouldn't show any merle. But the important takeaway on this is 2 things. Test. Because DNA test. Because if you've got a merle dog you can't see, but it could have, if you have a merle parent and you don't think your dog is merle, you better do a test for merle if it looks white or cream, because you don't want to breed that to another merle when it's hidden, because that could be a bad day for the puppies. Half of them could be blind and deaf. Right? The other thing on that so there's 2 issues here. Breeding a merle to a merle, and then breeding extreme pied to another pied and get extreme puppies. They likely be deaf. We did
if
that.
it's a cryptic merle.
You're okay.
But
be a cryptic. So
what is the DNA for cryptic merle? Is it
So a cryptic merle is a dog that
C-
comes back with a merle test that's a low number, like
CM or
220s.
Is it-
Yeah, MC.
Oh,
MC. Cryptic merle.
Okay.
Cryptic merle, BMC. And it will come back with a number. These days they have tests for like dogs that are in the 270s are Harlequins, dogs in the 220s are cryptics. So you can test for this. I've never seen a cryptic merle, but you can supposedly breed a cryptic merle to a merle.
I have on looking through at other dogs, and that was a long time ago because all the other DNAs have taken over.
Minnie Labrador says, I paid over $500 for both my dogs to get their brucellosis test this week. I'm going through you guys next time. You bet you should. Because you can buy, we sell them in boxes of 5, I think it's $72. They've got a shelf life. You can stick them in the pantry. They've got a shelf life of over a year.
She could have paid for a machine.
Yeah, and it's easy to do. You do have to draw blood, but that's the hard part. You know, it's not difficult to do. You do have to draw blood, but I've got videos on how to draw blood. When you buy brucellosis kits from us, it comes with needles and syringes
If you have
too.
a hard time drawing blood, run her to the vet. Let them meet you out in the car.
Let them charge you $15 for the blood, right? As opposed to $500.
And then go on
$500. There's so many places to save money. I mean, I'm a penny pincher, big
on
time.
My Breeder Supply, we sell it.
I'm a penny pincher, aren't I?
Oh yeah, James squeaks when he walks. Squeak, squeak, squeak.
But over the years, I have never, ever done anything where I really felt like I'd made a really huge mistake by doing it myself. But get educated. That's what these videos are about, is get educated so that you can not have to go to the vet and expose your dog to other sick dogs and spend, what are expensive trips. I'm not saying that vets, we've got a number of vets and they're wonderful. I don't want to bash any of our vets around here. The Dr. Matusik and the Wagamoths and all of these people that we use on a regular basis,
They're great.
They're wonderful people.
Keep a good relationship with your vets.
And all of our vets, by the way, they are more than happy to explain things in great detail, because I ask that anytime I go there and I've got something I'm not sure about, I start asking questions.
They try to lock the door before James comes in.
I've got vets who call me up for advice, by the way, believe it or not. I do. But that's not the point here. The point here is that the vets are very useful, and get yourself a good vet. There are some not so good vets. You need to find out which ones those are.
There's
get a
always
good vet.
a good conversation going on when James walks in, because they all ask questions, and James is asking them questions. They hit off each other.
Jesse Sames says a brucellosis test of $50. There's a great example of this huge variation. Some people are paying $8,000 for a C-section. Some people are paying $300. So there is this huge disconnect depending on big city New York, San Francisco, you're going to pay high dollar. Rural Oklahoma, you're not going to pay high dollar. So, you can always do things by traveling an hour away typically to find that country vet who's still a great vet. Who give you an example? Well,
That's why our traveling incubator comes in real handy when you have to travel a little ways down the road with brand new newborn baby puppies.
Brifford Great Danes, what percentage of your puppy sales do you contribute to your YouTube channel, and has it gone up since starting the channel? The answer is yes. Right. So we've got almost 80,000 subscribers now. So that means that when we have a litter, we do put it on YouTube, and a lot of people see it. And of course, that can't hurt, can it? I mean, so I think the question for you is how do you put the word out that you've got puppies? And one of the things that Tammy does a lot of.
You've got a class on that.
I do. I've got my Breeder 101. Thank you, Tammy. Breeder 101 is courses that we have, and you can go to breeder101.com, and you can see all of our courses. They do cost money, but typically less than a vet visit. You own them forever. They stream, you don't have to download anything. You can watch them while you're drinking a cup of coffee or waiting for the kids. And I've got courses that are in depth, and they are more than my YouTube videos. So they're not a repackaging of that, they're new stuff. And I've got 6 of those courses right now. But I get a little bit off topic here. But Tammy does a great job doing things on Facebook. So talk about that. Where do you go on Facebook?
You advertise early, number one. And Facebook has all those groups that you can use that help get your name out. But that's what I've done for years. So
somebody asked here, and I don't remember what it was, I missed your name now, and I apologize for that, but they were asking about do you start advertising and when? And the answer is we start advertising early.
Early. We're doing it at the vet's office. As soon as those babies are in that little incubator, we're taking videos of that and introducing it, because I've had people calling me going, when are the puppies going to be born? And I'll say, okay, we'll get videos of it when the babies are being born.
It's so exciting too, isn't it? I love the vet trip.
And then when we get them home and we get mama. Sometimes we'll do a video on mama introducing the babies to the mama.
Get people interested in your puppies day one if you can.
Early.
The problem you've got is you don't know the DNA, and it's hard to tell exactly what you've got. So you've got to be careful about.
We know because pretty much we know.
Because we've got
we've got the DNA on the mamas and the daddies, so we pretty well have an idea what they are.
So we'll make the statement we think.
Yeah. And then we send their DNA off when they're about 4 or 5 days old.
And then we confirm
That's the little do clause.
Yep.
And do you have a video on that one too?
I do.
On your 101 class?
Yes. Somebody's asked, do we have videos on drawing blood? We do. We've got videos on all of this stuff. So if you go to YouTube, the problem with YouTube is it's hard to search for my videos because it's just a jumbled mess. That's why the classes are really a great thing. I mean, again, I'm putting a hammer in my classes. Obviously, it does me good because I get paid for doing this. But the point about the class is it's on a whole topic. For instance, it might be about raising puppies. And it's everything that I know about raising puppies. And there might be 20 hours worth of videos. And it's all in chronological order. You haven't got to hunt through stuff. Because if you don't get the wording right on YouTube, you won't find my videos. But you will with the course. Okay. I would love to get an incubator. Good. Go to www.mybreedersupply.com. Why are our incubators the best out there, Tammy?
Why are they?
Yes.
The little traveling incubators?
Yes.
Because they save puppies' lives.
And they're portable.
And they're portable. And they're lightweight. And they've got the little light in there. The heat's great for them. It doesn't dry them out. It's,
You can use them at home. You can use them in the car. I don't know anybody else has portable
you plug it into your car. We have those little, what do you call it?
Adapters?
Yeah. The little adapters that go in the car. So when you're driving down the road to go to the vet, keep that little incubator warm. Mama's into labor. Throw it, plug it in the house.
Get it warmed up.
Get it warmed up.
When you come
take
home,
it in the car with you. And then when you have it in the car, take the little carport out. And is that what it is called? I just call it a carport. But anyway, you walk into the vet's office with it. Make sure you have a little hand towel at the bottom of it, a little thin, so they won't slide and slide. But anyway, you plug it in at the vet's office with the regular plug-in.
Linda says, I love your classes.
And we also
Thank you, Linda.
have the adaptation stuff over in the UK.
Yeah, it'll work. So our incubators will work on the same, it comes with 2 adapters. It comes one for the car, it's always 12 volts. So that's universal all over the world. And it also comes with a household plug-it-in that'll work on 220 or 110, same adapter. So you can use this thing anywhere that you've got a car or household electricity, you can use it. And here's the great thing.
Pennies to run it.
$300 for an incubator. Here's the thing. Now you can go on a trip that's an hour and a half, 2, 3, 4 hours away and save yourself thousands of dollars on a C-section. Thousands of dollars a C-section. Get puppies home absolutely safe as houses.
Keep it plugged in for a couple of weeks for sure while the babies are little, in case you get one baby that's not being very strong.
Tony Hill says she removed the dew claws looking at my classes and took them off to animal genetics, and it worked great for her. Good.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Just make sure that you always put those dew claws, have the little packet marked that you cut out of paper and tape it and put the dew claw to the correct puppy, the identification on that little paper.
So I'm liking these questions, by the way. I like this format for this. I think it's quite useful for everybody.
I like it better than the other class.
And if you like it, give us a thumbs up. It does help us. Subscribe to us. That helps us too. And it'll notify you when videos have been dropped. I've got a number of videos that are dropping this week that we just did the other day.
And I love feedback when people tell us things. If they think we're wrong on something,
absolutely.
Correct us. We love it.
Absolutely. No, we do get things wrong, and we acknowledge it.
Yeah.
We acknowledge it. If we get things wrong, we acknowledge it.
James gets things wrong.
I do.
And it makes me feel good when I have to tell him different.
You know what the thing about getting things wrong is? Here's the secret about getting things wrong. I try to make...
You can watch James' head shrink.
I try to do 3 mistakes a day. I would like to have 3 mistakes a day, but here's the secret.
Please, that sounded pretty arrogant.
No.
You only make 3 mistakes a day. You would like to get just 3 mistakes a day?
You're missing the point. The point is this. Mistakes are very useful, but only if you know that you've made a mistake and you acknowledge it. And if you've made a mistake that hurt somebody else, you apologize for it. But mistakes, if you think that you're going to go through life without making mistakes, then you are asleep in a dark room. You're not participating with other people. You're going to make mistakes. Mistakes are fine. You just need to learn from your mistakes.
Did I hear you apologize for it? Is that?
Yeah.
Here, my hair was in my way. What'd you say?
Shut the hell up.
No, that's what I want to do.
Tony Hill says use paper pouches for the dew claws. That's right. You don't, when you remove the dew claws to send them off for DNA, you do not put them in a plastic bag.
No.
You put them into something that breathes.
And if you try to do it through swabbing the puppy's mouth, that's another story there, because if you don't take the puppies off of mama for how many hours does that need to be?
They say 6 hours, but I think 4 is okay.
Yeah, that means you have to take them away from mama.
Yes.
No nursing.
Right.
And for
DNA's
6 hours.
Yep.
And because mama's DNA will be in their mouths because they've been nursing from mama. And when you swab their mouth and send it off, you're going to get mama's DNA. So make sure if you do it that way that they do not nurse on mama for 6 hours.
And I recommend that you take a paper towel, wet paper towel, and wipe their mouth out on the inside too.
No, you still get it.
Well, yeah, but it'll help.
Their mouth is so full of skin and folds.
That's right.
That, yeah.
Extraordinary, beautiful journey. One for Tammy. Are you breedings planned by customer demand or by your female's heat cycle?
I do it with my female's heat cycle. I do both because if a customer's looking for a certain type and I get more than 1 or 2, I've always said my merles, people want my merles, and I'll do that.
So I'm going to say just a little bit different than you. Another factor in here is what are we doing? If we've got 2 dogs that are coming to heat at the same time, we may skip one of those dogs because we don't want to have just all hands on deck, and we want to enjoy the litter. And if you have 2 litters of 8 puppies each, it puts a pretty good stress on everybody. So you can't do as good a job. So that's one thing that makes a difference. The next thing is, what was the previous litter? How successful was the previous litter, right? So we'll do a repeat breeding if we really like the results and people love their puppies and they came back and
we did that with kits babies.
Absolutely, you bet. And we went outside to do the stud service on that.
Well, because he was another year hero.
Yeah, and it wasn't cheap.
Sarah Champagne's
Sarah Champagne.
Yeah.
She has that Bjorn.
Bjorn
is
a Viking name. Bjorn.
Yeah, Bjorn.
And Kit's a year hero, and he was a year hero, and he was a full Fluffy.
Yes.
Where Kit was just a standard, so I got Fluffy Carrier year heroes.
Yes, but I thought that was a good question. Yeah. So basically, there's a number of factors in this, and it's not just about the money side of it. It's also about
if I like what I'm seeing with my puppies, I'll do it again. I just confirmation means a lot to me. The structure of the puppy. The health of the puppies, how they all were.
Yes, and how mama bounced back. These are all things. I mean, we may not breed back to back, and we don't just continuously breed back to back anyway. We just don't do that. No. But we do breed back to back and then give a rest. Sometimes you miss
2 breedings and then I do a rest.
Yes, and sometimes you get a rest because you weren't successful.
Well, sometimes you get a rest because mama dog didn't come back into heat.
Well, look at Kit.
She's letting us know. Kit's pretty sure she's letting us know.
She's 5 years old. She's had 2 breedings. We did a breeding. It was great. We gave her a break. No. Excuse me. We did a breeding. We did another breeding. We gave her a break. She doesn't come back in.
Right.
So this is an interesting question as well.
Well, you'll have some people say, "Oh, just give her a shot. She'll come into heat." No, I'm not going to do that.
No, I don't do that.
That's not good.
No, and we just don't have to have. I mean, she's a lovely dog. She's a house dog.
I'm not going to do that to my female and take a chance on.
I love Kit.
That or something. No way.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But some people do. I mean, that's but a lot of vets will say breed your dogs back to back. It's better for their reproductive health, by the way. So that's an interesting thing. Is it kind of keeps the engine going. So. If you start having too many delays between breedings, that may not be the best thing in terms of the number of litters that you can have. But at the same time, be ethical, be sensible, be nice to your dogs. Don't hammer the hell out of them. It's not just about the money, right? It's about your well-being, the dog's well-being, and your ability to market those puppies. And so if all those things line up, good to go.
Kit is just our big baby girl. She just looks at us and those big brown eyes are hers. She's just sweet.
Listen, B. Kendall says, I saw 1 drop of blood 1 day ago. Haven't seen anything else. Should I be worried? No, just give it time. No. Look, you could get blood there for other reasons, but almost always when you see blood on the ground or in panties or on bedding.
Is that a young puppy?
Doesn't tell us
female?
that.
Yeah.
But, young dogs, they can be very sporadic. Some dogs don't bleed very much, but just hang in there. Nothing's going on. Look, if she's swelled up, you don't see any blood, and it's been like 6 days, go get a progesterone test. And you'll find out where you are in a heat cycle. If she's more than a 1, she's in heat.
If she's running around with other girls, they may be cleaning her up too. So it's always a good idea to put a cheapo white towel in there where she sleeps. And because if you got other females, they're going to be tending to her and cleaning her up. That's just.
Do you agree with this statement from Jesse James? We love morals. We love morals. I love morals. I love
pies. I love
yeah.
morals. I love my You're a Hero.
Yeah.
Anything unusual.
Yes.
It's eye-catching. I like it.
How about the hairless dogs?
I'm not saying anything.
I don't like them.
I plead the fifth. Okay.
But again, Tammy's kicking me in the leg right now. But remember, what we like isn't necessarily what...
Everybody's eye appeal is different.
Yes, and look, if you're raising dogs for other people to adopt them, you've got to pay attention to what your customers want, right? If you're raising dogs because you're going to go in the show ring and it's all about you, then it's very important about what you want, and they could be completely different things. She stopped kicking me.
I don't know why you brought it up.
Because somebody asked the question.
Well.
Polly Johnson says she's awesome. I've learned so much from your YouTube videos. Good. Well, I think they are a great resource for you. So, all that stuff's free. That's why we'd like you to subscribe to us. That's why you'd like to give us a thumbs up, because it does help the channel. It does help us, so we do get a little bit of money back from YouTube on click-throughs. And so that does help us a lot. It doesn't make much money, but at least it gets us where it's not just a complete drain on us, because it does take time and effort. Now, if I look at this in terms of the amount of time and effort that we spend on this and what we're getting paid per hour, it's a loss. It's.
I'm bringing something up.
Yes.
Change the subject.
Okay.
Because it was a very nice warm day today.
Yes.
Be careful with your Frenchies.
Oh, yeah. What happened today?
Well, ours, Kit, she stayed under the shade of the lawn chair out there.
Well, I was going to say, what happened? We got a pool out back.
Oh, well, that. But I'm talking about heat. I'm talking about heat first right now. You just wait. It's my turn.
Okay.
Because it's getting real warm outside, and they're running, they're playing. So when summer comes and the warmer, the more heat, the more, you just got to watch them and be careful.
You get overheated.
The saliva builds up in their mouth and they can't swallow, and so you've got to get that.
Yeah, so the problem you have here is they want to go play.
Juice.
They want to go play, and they will exhaust themselves. And if you see a dog that's starting to go blue in the face, you need to get that dog cooled off. And then one way to do that is to get a garden
have
hose.
you some, those little squeeze bottles of lime or
Yes.
lemon? That helps to squirt it down their throat. Don't overdo it.
But I'd say fundamentally, if you've got a dog that's overheated, get a hose on it. And don't just blast it with a hose right away. Start with a hose on its belly and take it
under its armpits. If you have some alcohol, rubbing alcohol, put it under their armpits, under their thigh areas, and and then take the water hose.
How old's Posh?
Posh is probably
9 months.
Yeah.
So we've got a 9-month-old. She came to us basically at the end of the summer. So she's not been around our pool, and our pool is gated off. But today was a beautiful day. We had the kids over here. We had a big breakfast. And I let all the dogs run around by the pool because they're all used to it except for Posh. And I hadn't really paid attention to what did Posh do.
She was excited because she saw Chanel and Jake in the backyard.
So she was excited.
And she walked straight off into the deep end.
In the deep end of the pool.
My son-in-law, Jake. Saved the day.
Yes, so we have a net
she was
there.
coming back towards the edge.
Yes, so just be careful with dogs because, lots of dogs like Labradors, they're going to be fine. They get in the water, they're just going to swim, they're going to love it. French Bulldogs, not so much. They've got short noses, they can sink, and they can get in trouble. She was not in trouble, but she definitely freaked her out. She stayed in one place and was very tentative for the next couple of hours.
She was worried about the ground that she was on to make sure that it was not going to sink.
Yes.
With her.
Well, I think about this as if that had been me, never been in water before, didn't know how to swim, that would be a near life death experience. And so for her, it was. And
she didn't sink.
No, she did.
She didn't sink.
Yeah, but it freaked her out.
Head up, and she knew Jake was trying to get her, so she went right straight to him. And of course, Sophia
Guy
that
S.
in
This
the
is going to be the
shallow
last
end.
one here because we're going up on an hour, but we'll just do this one. Guy S has got a problem. Guy S says, I know I'm late, but I need your help. I watch your videos and they have helped me so much. My vet performed an unnecessary and ethical C-section. Also, it was early. They are lying and saying that she was in labor. I have already recorded this. I don't know what to do. Well, I'd say this. Give me a call tomorrow. We'll talk about it. Here's the problem with this. And I'm going to point the finger at you a little bit, guy. You need to be on top of this. You don't need to be, look, anytime I've got something wrong with me, I've already Googled it. I've already tried to figure out what I think is going on. So when the vet tells me or the doctor tells me something, that I have a belief that I'm being told the right stuff, because you can get poor information. And this is definitely true of C-sections. I've got lots of information on there. I talk to lots of people about this. Give me a call tomorrow. Let's have a discussion about what happened. In terms of what you're going to get done with this vet, the thing that you're probably going to come away with from this is number one, if you think the vet was at fault, then don't use that vet again. And the second thing is to get yourself educated so next time you don't get caught with your pants down. And I think that is about it, unless you've got one that you want to answer there, Tammy.
At what age do you start puppies on dry kibble without mush? You always, after they do the mush for about a week and a half, go to a kibble, get it real wet, let it set for about 30 to 45 minutes, and smash it up with the fork. Gradually add the strength of the kibble the older they get.
Yep.
So anywhere from 6 weeks to 6.5 weeks, start giving them the kibble that's soft.
Our puppies
softened and squished.
don't leave until they're 10 weeks old.
Right.
They have been on dry kibble for at least a week before they leave. If we've got a puppy that's got, we've never had this, but if I had a puppy that was still requiring, a slurry to eat, I wouldn't let that puppy leave. You want puppies to be socially developed, had all the vaccinations, had their wormings, been for a vet visit, and be on regular dry puppy food or whatever you're feeding as a regular kibble. You don't want to send a puppy to somebody who they need to start doing nursing on that dog. They got something. So I think that's the rule. So I don't think it really matters exactly when. It's easier to get them on, once they're on dry food, it makes it easier for everybody. Their poop tends to be more firm, not as liquidy, not as thin. So sooner you can get there. But some puppies, especially small ones, they're going to take some time. You get big puppies.
It depends. Sometimes the small ones are the biggest pigs of the bunch.
Yeah, but I mean, in a litter, there's going to be some variation on this. You're going to get some dogs who need to have, a gruel longer than some other dogs do. So, I mean, and some dogs may need to mum a bit more as you're going through this process. Some dogs can get weaned off mum very quickly, but you might have one or two puppies that are just not putting weight on. And be careful.
Yeah, we'll be doing another questions and
next Sunday.
Q&As.
Yeah, next Sunday, I think.
Okay, so remember, if you need a puppy, give me a call. Between my son, my daughter, my granddaughter, and me, we've got puppies on the ground.
Cody just had some puppies the other day,
580-799-1910, and I can lead you to the right person.
Are you trying to keep up the new trends? Well, we're not going to answer this now. I think we're already at the point we're over our 1 hour limit.
We'll be back again.
We'll be back again. So again, you can ask questions on the YouTube channel and answer them. So you can do that too. I'll get back to you on that. And go do look at breeder101.com. We'd really appreciate it if you signed up for some of our courses. They come with a money-back guarantee. If you don't like them, you get your money back, no questions asked. And the YouTube has got lots of valuable information. It's a little bit harder to sort through it to find out what you're looking for. But again, we're here to help people. That's what it's all about. And
this is mybreedersupply.com, lovemypups.com, FrenchiesofTexas.com, or just My Frenchies of Texas.
This is the advert at the end, right?
Yep, it's the advert at the end. And then Instagram is Love My Pups Official.
There you go. Everyone enjoy the rest of their Sunday. Subscribe to us, like us. We'd really appreciate that. Thanks for joining us, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.